You are listening to the Enhance Learner Voice podcast. I am your host, Rachel Ryan, the Head of Communications at EACEA. We are the National Adult Learning Organisation in Ireland. And in this podcast series, we'll be hearing real stories from adult learners and educators involved in community and adult education across Europe. The podcast is part of the Enhance Project, a European Commission-funded initiative that brings partners together from all over Europe. So through this project, we're developing tools and strategies that support educators and organisations to place learner voice at the heart of adult education. We really believe that every adult learner's voice matters. And, you know, when you share these stories, you really inspire others to learn, to teach, and to lead in more inclusive and empowering ways. Well, today I am delighted to be joined by Mags Keenan Dillon. She is a learner with the Dublin Adult Learning Centre. Mags, thanks so much for coming on.
No problem. Glad to be here.
And you didn't have too far to come. You're only down the road.
I'm only down the road, so I just jumped on the 27.
Brilliant. Well, as I was saying, you are a learner with the Dublin Adult Learning Centre.
Yes, I am.
Believe you have been for a number of years.
Yes.
But before we get into your kind of story with DALC, and I will say that, for anyone listening, we shortened the Dublin Adult Learning Centre to DALC. So if we're saying DALC, that's what we mean. But maybe, Mags, you might take me back to your early education. I mean, most of us go to school when we're very young at some point, primary, secondary. How was that experience for you?
Well, I only went to primary school till I was about 14. And that didn't go down very well. I was in a class with other students. It was a special class. That's what they called it in my time years ago. But then they put me into a class with about 40 other students. It was a very big class. I was put down the back of the class and I was left there. Didn't learn anything, couldn't read, couldn't write, couldn't do anything. And every Friday, I can't remember the teacher's name, she used to leave. I was the last, as I said, because I sat down the back on my own. I was the last one called at 2 every Friday with an empty notepad for her to humiliate me.
Oh, no. Oh.
But, yeah, so what happened was, it was kind of part of my life. So I got used to that. So I'd walk up every Friday with my head held high. I knew the other children were sniggering and all that, but I didn't mind. But as I said, I got used to it, and I would walk up, and as I was walking up, saying, it's 2:25 now, the bell's going to go at 2:30, and I'm out that door.
So you knew, even though this is humiliating and awful, you only have 5 minutes, and then you'll be kind of free from this.
I'll be gone out of that.
But that was your coping strategy from a very, very, negative situation. Exactly. And I'm really sorry to hear that, Mags, because this was obviously a number of years ago, and unfortunately people with learning difficulties, additional needs, were not considered in the education system, I think it would be fair to say. So you had no extra support within your class?
No, none at all. But in the other classes we did get the support, but not in this class. No way did we get. I didn't get any support in any way, and I was the only one that went up with an empty notepad in any way. So that was every Friday. But as I said, it was like water off a duck's back to me then.
It became normalised.
Yeah.
Which is weird, but I guess as a child you have to normalise these things to get through them almost.
Well, exactly.
But so this was primary school, was it?
Yes.
And did you, it didn't put you off going back though day after day, did it?
No, I was only out now if I was sick or anything, and I never went on the mitch. I went to that school, that classroom every morning. And
were you determined to try and learn something in your own way?
I did, but she wasn't giving me the help that I needed. I could have done with a 1-on-1, but I didn't get that. Do you know what I mean? So I just used to go there, sit in the back. My mother used to buy me all the stuff. I'd have the best fountain pens and all the ornaments. Do you know what I mean?
And was there any stage along your journey up until you were 12 or whatever, any stage that any teacher, any principal, anyone took an interest or tried to intervene? No.
Nobody.
It's it's really interesting to hear, that experience. It's sad to hear that experience. And we were only talking to someone else on a different episode of the podcast about, the provisions that are there for people with special needs today and how great that is.
I'm glad there is.
And we were saying that there's still a long way to go. But when we hear your story, we can see that we already have come a ways, even though there's a ways to go. So that was primary school then, Mags. Did you go to secondary school then?
No, I didn't.
You didn't go at all?
I didn't go anywhere else.
So you left school?
I left school to get a job, and that didn't happen either. So I didn't get a job for a long time. And then when I did get a job, it'd only be cleaning jobs.
Okay. And what age were you when you left then the education system?
14.
14.
Yeah, well, in them days you could leave at that stage. I think she wanted to get rid of me anyway.
So was it your decision to leave, or?
Yeah. Because I wasn't going anywhere else. I was finished then, so there was no good going to any other school because I wouldn't have been able to keep up.
Okay, so you were happy enough to kind of.
Oh, I was delighted. I came home and burnt everything.
Well, this is it. I mean, when you've had such a bad experience, you're not going to be, clamouring to get back to education.
No, I mean, a teacher's not supposed to do that. She knew I wouldn't have anything wrote down, but she still made a whole business to make a show of me, basically. But as I said, it wasn't getting her anywhere because I still walked up with the empty padding anyway.
I really love your the fact that you did it with your head held high, regardless of all this humiliation, because, an experience like that would have broken somebody else or another child that maybe wasn't as strong as you. They might not have come back, week after week.
Yeah, well, I did go back, and every Friday I did the same thing at 2:25, knowing I was going out that door at 2:30 because the bell would go.
Okay. You knew you had your escape route was on the way.
Exactly. So I knew.
So tell us then, when you left school at 14, Mags, like what was kind of going through your head? I mean, did you want to get a job? Were you just happy to be out of school? And you said you didn't get a job for a while. So what happened when you left school at 14?
Well, when I left school, I did try to get a job in a brush factory, but that didn't get me anywhere. A few other places, even tried Cadbury's because my uncle worked in Cadbury's. Got nowhere there. So then my nanny took bad, so I was at home to mind my two brothers while my mum was over looking after me nan.
Okay.
And stuff. So then after a couple of years I got cleaning jobs.
Okay.
And I've done that all my life until I got an interview with what was it called? Tusk, with the Labour, and they said to me, well, you've always done clean jobs, let's get you something different. So they got me a job in a creche. And it was like, cleaning and washing and the usual, and giving the kids their dinners and stuff like that. So I was there for a year and that was in Mountjoy Square in St. Mary's. And there was a lady there that was telling me about Dalk, which is just across the road. So my year was up and I had to leave. And the lady did say to me that was in charge, I said, we would keep you on if we could afford to pay you because they hadn't got the funds, which I understood. So then I went on to Labour, and then I would always remember about that woman saying about Dalk. So I said, right, this is it, I'm going to go. And then I was brought into a meeting in the Labour, and she was saying about education. I said, yes, well, I was thinking about education in Dalk. I thought she was going to send me to Coolock. And she said, no, that's where I'm going to make an appointment in Dalk, which she did, which I was over the moon over that. But with saying that now, I was okay going for the meeting with Mary Mara and all. And I was able to walk up the steps, went into the office, everything was grand. And they started me off at one class, and that was on a Tuesday. And then before I left, she asked me would I like to do a CE, and I said, what's that in detail, because I didn't know what it was. So she explained, and I said, yeah, I don't mind if everything works out for me here.
That would be like a community education?
No, it's you're on a CE. You get paid from the Labour for that.
Oh, very good. Okay.
So I said, yes, I'll give that a try. So in, say, about 6 weeks, then I was on the CE. And before I left, she said, go down to the canteen. And someone brought me down and introduced me to the people that was down there, the other students, and had a cup of tea, and I felt relaxed. They were real chatty. So that was grand. Then she gave me a starting date. And then on the starting date, I kind of walked up to the steps, walked back down and had a smoke, and then said, no, right, up you go, up them steps. And that was the hardest part, was walking up them steps in through that door.
Isn't that amazing? A lot of adult learners will say that it's taking that initial leap
It's
to
just taking
start.
it's taking that step.
And I've heard a lot of these stories of people literally coming to the door of the centre or the programme, and it's that will I or won't I moment, and giving yourself that push through the door. And I'm sure you're so delighted that you did.
Oh, I am. And then when I went into the class, I always remember I was like, say I was sitting here and there was an elderly man sitting there. And here I was, oh God, I'm going to make a show of myself. And he said, what's wrong with you? I said, I don't know how to read. He said, well, we're all in the same boat here. So he made me feel relaxed. And then the rest of the students, laughing and joking. And then I kind of relaxed. And then I looked forward to going back. And then I got more days. And now I go into Dalk every morning about 8:30, say 25 to 9. Just to go in, sit down, have a tea or a coffee, and a chat and a laugh before classes.
And that's so important, isn't it, as well? That social aspect of adult education.
Exactly.
Tell me, Mag, so let's go back, right, to when you first got to Dalk. So you had been working in cleaning for many years.
Yes, I was.
And that kind of came to an end.
Yes.
So you were looking for another chapter, and kind of Dalk came into your mindset, and it was recommended to you by a friend, I think you said.
Yes, a lady in the creche.
Okay.
She said to me, Max, I know you're leaving, but she says, I went over there. I said, where? You're outside having a smoke. She said, just across the road there. It's called Dalk. You do classes.
And this was about 8 years ago?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And what was the... from having such a poor experience of an academic setting before, from then doing, different types of jobs, to going back into that environment.
Yes.
Was it very nerve-wracking?
It was very nerve-wracking because I honestly didn't think I was ever going to be able to read. I didn't think I wasn't doing computers at the time. But then when they were saying you go into this class now, then I was getting nervous. But then I went into maths. I got folders for that. I was never good at maths. Then I got folders for every other class. I even got a folder for computers. And now I'm doing another folder this year for computers.
That's amazing, Mags. Fair play. So you've gone in the last 8 years from...
to know nothing.
From not reading or writing?
No.
Or nothing, knowing anything about computers?
No.
And now you can do all three?
I can. I always remember the first day I went into computers. Like, they're only getting to know me. She said, Max, turn your computer on. Sure, here I was with the mouse. And then I was pressing the keyboard. I didn't know how to turn it on.
Wow.
And now I'm flying.
You're flying. And computers are a whole other skill.
Oh, there's an awful lot to keep in your head.
There is. But the interesting thing is that reading and writing is something that you would have been taught many years ago.
Yes.
But clearly the way it was taught to you was just didn't suit you at all. And what was the difference when you went to Dalk, when you went to sit down to try and read or write for the first time? What was the difference there?
Well, the difference was that I had 2 tutors there, and they were in the class, and I said, look, I can't read anything. I can't do anything. So she says, just sit down. Don't be putting yourself down. Just listen to the other students. Any problems, just call me. So as I progressed there, I started picking up on words. Then I was able to read a small book. Then they asked me to read for the kids in the creche, which I did. But being able to read my own mail was very important to me.
Absolutely. Your correspondence.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now I'm able to read my own mail. I can read my own text, on the phone and everything. Like, I remember my son Shane had sent me a message, and I didn't reply straight away. I was busy. And it was, what was it? I think he was asking me, could I babysit? And he rang me and said, Ma, he said, I'm sorry for the sending that message. I should have gave you a voice message saying, can you I said, Shane, I've seen your message, and yes, I will babysit. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
And he said, man, the best thing you ever did was going to Dalk.
It's just such a huge achievement. At a later stage in life, you know, it can be almost harder to pick up these things, you know, like
Yes.
maths and reading and writing. But you seem to have flown it because of the way that it has been taught to you. And do you find now being able to read your text messages, emails, it's given you a greater sense of confidence and independence?
Well, a lot of independence, and I have great confidence.
What kind of things has it allowed you to do that you couldn't do before?
Well, do you know what I never used to do? I never used to look at the news. I never knew what was going on in the world. I can buy a newspaper, I can read, and I can sit down. And how I started as well at home was, the subtitles. I started reading them, and then I'd listen to the news to see what I write and what I was reading.
Oh, very good.
But as I said, the most important thing was to being able to read, to have a proper conversation with somebody, like the war, knowing what's going on in the world. Because before, I never watched news.
And that kind of isolates you from society, doesn't it? When you feel like you can't take part in conversations, or almost like that's not for me, I'm not part of that. And now you feel part of it.
Yes. I mean, years ago, wouldn't be able to tell you who the president of America is. Do you know what I mean? No way would I. But we all know it's Trump.
we could not know, unfortunately.
Exactly. But it's nice to know all these things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it is, absolutely. And I think it helps you participate in society that bit more.
And as I said, like the tutors in Dalk now, I'm not saying anyway, I'm just going by school and where I am now. They ask you, is this class too fast? Is it too slow? Are you happy? They go at your pace. Do you know what I mean?
It's so important.
And you're not afraid to make a mistake, because it's not like you're going to get into trouble. They're not going to stand you up and make a show of you. Do you know what I mean? It's nothing like that. And then I'm in rooms with other people that's just like myself. And most people have had a worse time than I had in school. Do you know what I mean?
It's sort of like rewiring people's brains, isn't it?
Exactly. And when you hear other people's stories, you say, oh my God, and I thought I was bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? God almighty, some of the stories that I've heard.
Horrendous.
And, yeah, do you know what I mean? Then in Dalk, I mean, a lot of us are on the CE scheme, but we have a lot of other people that come from different countries that's living in Dublin. So you're getting to meet all these different people, different cultures, which is brilliant.
So you're kind of connecting with new communities that you wouldn't probably in any other situation.
Exactly. And then you listen to their stories. You know what I mean? That's how you get to know these people, and they get to know you and they trust you.
And do you think it helps to build up sort of social cohesion within the community?
Oh, yes, I do. It really does. I mean, I class the students my second family, even though we're all friends. And also, the tutors, I class them as my friends.
But isn't that great that you're going into a place that you just feel so comfortable and so happy that you can, and that when you're comfortable and happy and you're not afraid of making a mistake, you're going to learn and you're going to perform to your best ability.
But see, that's how we learn, is by making our mistakes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's how we learn. I mean, we do a survey every year, and I was only doing it with Veronica there a couple of months ago, and she says to me, where do you see yourself this time next year? I said, well, Veronica, I see myself this time next year sitting here doing the same thing with you. Because you're not getting rid of me.
No, and that's great to know. So you're doing your computers at the moment. Would you like to take things further with your education? Are you happy in Dalk? Would you like to do a certificate or a degree in the future, or are you happy just doing your bit by bit?
Well, I'm happy at what I'm doing now, and I'm hoping to be there till retiring time. And then when I retire, to spend time with my grandkids.
Oh, lovely. That's the best way to spend the time.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, a lot of the project this podcast is about, Mags, is about learner voice and how important that is to adult education.
Yes.
And I think it's something in Ireland that we do very well. Like, we have a good track record of it. People could be listening to this all across Europe, though, that may not be as familiar with it. And maybe they're the educators who are designing courses and they're wondering, how do we do learner voice? Like, kind of, what is it? So I'm wondering, from your experience in DALC, you know, how much does learner voice play a role in that organisation? Are you are you asked your opinion about your course? Are you encouraged to, to chime in if you think something would work better within a course? Do the learners get involved in shaping their own education?
Yes, we are asked questions like what would we like and all this, and they do go out of the way for us. Do you know what I mean? If I said, oh God, can we do a reading piece next week instead of doing this? Yes, we can do a reading piece.
Oh, that's great.
So no, they are very understanding. And then we do stuff like spellings on the boards, these smart screen tellies. So we have all that. So, and that helps a lot of people. Do you know what I mean? It really does now.
And what does it mean as a learner to have your voice heard? Like, what does it mean to you Mary's listened to what I said and she's actually taking that on board, and they've changed the course based on what I've said? What does that mean to you?
That makes me feel very proud of myself. Do you know what I mean? Because, I've done, I went to another place now, and a few of my colleagues, I call them colleagues, we did a talk, we were guests there, we were doing about computers to a load of other people. Different people from different parts of the country. That was very nerve-wracking, but we sat there doing it.
So you presented this?
They presented it, but it was our voices, because we were doing the computers, and they wanted to hear what we had to say as learners. And then they'd ask us questions and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?
Because you're the ones who know the journey the best and the
Exactly.
experience the best. So, you are the best people to ask. So you think that learner voice part is important?
Yes, it is. It's like I never voted before in my life. And since I'm in DALC now, I have my voice. My voice will be heard. And I do vote.
And do you feel that's because taking part in education has... You feel you want more of a say about what's going on around you?
Exactly. And it is nice. Like if you're out and about and you meet someone, they say, oh, what you doing? Oh, I'm in education. They say, oh, well, I'm not doing anything. And I do say, well, why don't you go and give it a try? I do try to help other people. Like, what would you say now? I've done now, when I heard about the war with the Ukrainians, I did a raffle for prizes to raise money. And the same at Christmas, we do a raffle in DALC, all prizes, food hampers and everything, and the money goes to Templetree Hospital. So I'm doing things for charity, doing the posters, doing everything.
You're giving back in a way that maybe you would have wanted to but couldn't before, because now you have anything. The skills. Yeah.
But I do like to do my best in DALC now, because they have been great to me and all the other students, and you won't get any of the students there. I'm not only saying this to say anything bad about DALC, and that is the God's honest truth, because God, I don't know what I'm going to do when I leave.
It sounds like they won't get rid of you, Mags. I don't think think they'll make you leave.
Maybe they let me be a tutor.
Maybe, yeah. You seem to be one of their star pupils, which is brilliant. And we did talk so much, and you can see it in your face and your voice, like your confidence that you have. And I would say a lot of that is down to DALC, to going back to adult education.
Oh, it is.
So can you, if you think about Mags 8-9 years ago and Mags now, does she seem like two different people?
Oh, I am a different person. I'm outgoing now. I'm open to every suggestion. When I was asked about this broadcast, I said, yeah, I'll do it.
And what would Mags 9 years ago have said?
Oh, you must be joking. No way, I'm not doing anything.
So the effect of education isn't just the fact that now you're reading and writing, which is brilliant.
No,
but it's much bigger.
Yeah, it's had to bring me out myself. I have a load of confidence, as Mary Mar said, because Mary asked me to do a women's group with a load of, all different national, and that went on for, I think, was for 12 weeks, and I loved that, and it was just talking, listening to other people's stories, and I loved that class. It was every Thursday. I loved it.
It was so inspiring.
Yeah, it really is. Well, it was, and all the people, I do meet them in town, and all we do is smile, hug each other, say, "Oh God, how are you keeping?" and all. Do you know what I mean?
It sounds like it's its own community that you've made for yourself.
Exactly.
And you mentioned there jokingly, but really, like, would you like? It sounds like you have the passion, and that personal experience to do something like being a tutor.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I really would be a tutor now. But no, as I said, it's opened me eyes, and it's started bringing me a long way in my life. Do you know what I mean? I was doing silly little cleaning jobs for 80 hours a week. You know what I mean? But now, I'd rather be doing something worthwhile, like learning. You learn something new, and I'm interacting with all sorts of people. And I go home, and I do say to my son, "Well, how'd you get on in work? Everything? Did you have a good day?" And he'll say to me, "Ma, how was your day?" I'll say, "Well, I had a brilliant day." And he does say to me, "But you never have a bad day, do you?" I say, "No."
Isn't that amazing? And
Yeah.
I'd say your children are probably the ones who can notice the difference in you the most.
Yes, and my other two grandchildren, Kelsey and John, can as well.
And what do they say? Like, how?
Because I'll tell you what, I did a smart class in Dalk. I hadn't got a smartphone.
Oh.
Because I couldn't use it. But now I can. And now I can do everything. And then I did something on my phone one of the days when my grandson was there, and he said, "Nanny, how did you do that?" I said, "Because I took a smart class."
So you're teaching the grandkids
Yeah.
now how to use their smartphones?
Yep.
Isn't that what a turnaround for the books?
Well, there you go. Now, I never thought, I even said to Liz and Miriam, I won't be able to do this. I couldn't even use the tablet.
Yeah.
But now I can.
And does all of that help you feel more connected, like, to your family, even like being part of a family WhatsApp group maybe you weren't able to be in before, or being able to read the news on your phone or go on social media? Do you feel more connected?
I do, because, all my friends are on the phones. So I can keep in contact with them. I can send them pictures of my grandkids, say something, you know what I mean? Anything, which is great. Like me and my sister keep in contact. I don't ring her all the time, but we do messages. FaceTime.
It opens up a whole new world, doesn't it?
It does. And then when we had the COVID and we went into lockdown, I never did Zoom in my life. And most of the tutors didn't either. But I was able to do that at home.
You've become an expert, a Zoom expert.
Yeah. With the tutors. So we were still doing our classes on the phones, on tablets.
Wow. Mags, it really sounds like your journey has been transformative in a relatively short space of time. I mean, 7 or 8 years is not a long period, but look how much you've achieved. Are you proud of your achievements?
Oh, I'm very proud. As it used to be Liz, when you on the computer, she'd say, "Now, put your hands down. You've done a great job there. Everybody's done a great job. Now, pat yourself on the back."
It's great to do, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
We can be very tough on ourselves sometimes, but to recognise your achievements is amazing. And I'm sure there could be also, as well as educators, maybe learners or people who want to be learners listening to the podcast today, Mags. And again, like you, it's like getting to that front door, getting up those steps, thinking, "Oh, can I do this? Will I make a show of myself?" Would you have any advice for anyone listening, about taking that first step?
Well, I would say to anybody that needs to go to get educated, I would say, put yourself first, take that step. That's what I would do. Just take that step and don't think you can't do it, because you're never, ever too old to go back to education.
That's a great piece of advice.
You're never too late.
And where would you advise people to even start looking? Or do you,
Well, there's quite a lot of places now around the city that I never knew. Why say go to Delk?
Very good. Yes, I think you've definitely sold them to a lot of people today. So for anyone listening, as we were saying, DALC is the Dublin Adult Learning Centre. So it's www.dalc.ie, and you can find out a lot of their programs there. But of course, depending on where you are listening to this, you can check your local adult and community education centres and find a course, that really suits you. But Mags, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
No, not at all. If I can help other people to better themselves, fair play to them.
I think you definitely will help a lot of people with their journeys today by sharing yours. So we really appreciate it.
No,
Mags
not at all.
Keenan Dillon, she is a learner at the Dublin Adult Learning Centre. Thank you so much for your time. And if you would like to find out a bit more about the Enhance project, or if you want to listen to other podcasts from the Enhance project, you can find them all up on the website. It's enhancelearnervoice.com.